Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick-and-mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I'm passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love, because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you are meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspire and Move podcast. I am your host, Ali Aruda, and I am so excited to be joined today with my sweet, sweet friend, Michelle. We have met through the Mentor Collective Mastermind, and we are part of, Team Canada in the Mentor Collective Mastermind. Both really cold in winter right now. And she is here to talk all things peptides, which I am excited about, strength training and health as women, high achieving women and female entrepreneurs, but also how that all correlates with being visible and being in proximity, ultimately to grow your business. So Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ali. I am so pumped to be here. I'm so excited.
Well, I love that we have met through a room, the one and only Chris and Lori Harder Mentor Collective Mastermind. And I've just loved getting to know you, but also understanding more about what you do. And before we really dive in, and I'm so excited to learn more about peptides because I feel like I could be an ideal client, whereas tell me what they are.
I know, right? Absolutely.
But I want to first talk about really optimizing our body. I mean, we are two fitness girlies here having a great conversation, and I am all about optimizing my body to be strong and be healthy and really think about that longevity, but also what that means for me as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Yes.
So how do you feel when it comes to, optimizing your mind and body, but while also optimizing the environments that you put yourself in?
You know what? I mean, it's kind of overwhelming when you think of all of these things that you need to optimize and these boxes that you have to check. But really, it's so important to, at some degree, hit the mark in all of those areas. And that really is the key to longevity and vitality and just a more optimal life, right? And I know that it can be really scary in the beginning, but I mean, we don't have to check all of the boxes, but really those internal factors as well as those external factors play a huge role in how you show up for yourself in the world.
Oh my gosh. Even I love knowing, I feel like I ask this almost every time I have a high achieving female on the show. I'm like, tell me about your morning routine.
Yeah, right?
I need to know, what does that look like for you?
Okay, so you know what? I'm a self-proclaimed anti 5 a.m. I know it's horrible, but my morning, because I have kids, it does look a little bit different. I do make sure I wake up between 6:15 and 6:30 so that I can slowly integrate myself into the morning. I am a morning person, but you don't know when your kids wake up, you don't know what the day, how it's going to start, right? To get them to school and whatever. And I remember being in my early 30s and in my 20s, and I felt like I had to be in the 5 a.m. club. I had to do the morning meditation. I had to do this and check all of these typical boxes. But I was really running dry because I'm I sometimes don't have that capacity. If my kids are up at night or just circumstances, right? It's I felt like I was failing when I wasn't fitting into a box that I guess maybe the wellness space was kind of saying you should be putting yourself into. And so then I'm you know what? Screw this. What can I do to set myself up with a clear mind, with quality energy, so that sets the tone and the pace for my day? And I don't need to read a chapter in a book and meditate for 10 minutes and have my morning business meeting before my kids wake up. That just wasn't realistic for me. My morning is spent in peace, to be honest. That's the only time in my day where I sit in silence, where I just am not focused on my business or my family or my clients. And so I just intuitively, if I want to meditate, I will. If I just want to sit and have my coffee, I will. It doesn't look as like as one would assume it would be, but it's because that I'm setting the tone with that sense of calm in the morning.
I think that's amazing though, because I'm hearing more and more about people, whether it's like Bill Gates taking think weeks, or I've heard Lauren Bostic has think days,
Mhm.
where we are actually consistently around, I'm going to say noise for lack of a better description, in terms of social media. If you're someone who watches the news, the
Yes.
world is a busy place,
Yeah.
whether it's you're walking traffic, driving traffic.
Mhm.
So good for you for listening to yourself and having that intuitive nudge to just start your day with quiet and peace
Exactly,
and
right?
space.
Exactly. And I think it really comes down to personality too, right? Like because I am a self-starter and a go-getter, but that naturally puts me more in like that high anxiety, that
Mm.
anxious, that if I don't do things, I'm failing kind of space. So I like to balance out energies. And that's what I encourage my clients to do as well. If you're more of like a masculine energy, then maybe starting the day on the softer side or vice versa, right? Like if you tend to be a more like go with the flow person during the day, maybe you do need some structure and rigidity in your morning to kind of set that tone and balance it out. So I don't think there is a one size fits all. And so for me, from a mental health perspective, it's like calm and quiet in the morning.
Mm. I love that. Okay, well, talking about space, but in a different way, that
Yeah.
I know this has been a hot topic in our mastermind community with
Mm,
visibility and claiming space. How
yes.
has that, like stepping in and claiming more space and being more visible, how has
Mhm.
that had a positive impact, assuming positive impact, in your business and the growth of yourself?
Yeah, you know what? It's so interesting because I'm hearing it's hard to reflect on yourself and how being more visible and authentically visible, I guess,
Mm,
how that affects you in terms of like your personal growth. And so we can't really be objective with ourselves, right? So I haven't really noticed, but just kind of allowing myself to kind of enter in that space unapologetically. I've had so much feedback from like family, friends, MCM members being like, Michelle, like you are entering in, like it's almost like an elevation and like a confidence that comes out. And sometimes you don't even see it or feel it, right? And
mhm.
I just feel like it's not even like getting out of a comfort zone. It's just like allowing it to be. And it's like, you know what, if people are going to judge, they're going to judge. But like being confident of just like I'm just gonna do what I want to do and say what I want to say and not be so like unnatural about it. It's like
Yeah.
I didn't even realize the growth that was going to come from that. It took people kind of pointing it out where I'm like, oh, I'm a big girl. Like I deserve to be in these spaces. Like I can be in these spaces and I'm not just like I'm not holding myself back anymore, right? And so that's like such a cool, empowering experience.
It's so liberating, and I just turned 40 this year, like, what feels like yesterday. It was, like, 2
Yeah.
weeks ago, and I had said to my husband, like, a day or 2 prior, maybe, like, somewhere in the week of my birthday, it was, like, this
Mhm.
aha moment where I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know what happened with turning 40 or getting ready to turn 40, but I actually don't really give a shit what people think about me anymore." And it was
100%.
really liberating.
Yeah, honestly. And I've been told that that comes like I was warned like your mid 30s you start to like not give a fuck and whatever and it's just and it's not that you don't care about other people's feelings but you don't care about censoring yourself. And so I
Mm.
definitely felt my own personal guard go down in my 30s, but I'm almost 40 as well. My birthday's in about 6 or so months. And like, yeah, it's time to stop caring so much. And it's not that I don't care about you, but I
Yeah.
should care about myself a little bit more.
Absolutely. And I just said this on a solo episode I did, that I was inspired by something that I was listening to in the gym this morning, of how, I think some people really are okay with taking the path of least resistance because it's
Yeah.
easy. And I
Hmm.
actually used the description of snow days, which I feel like you could probably also relate to, being that you also live in a cold climate multiple months a
Very
year, that we have these snow days and people are like, oh, better close the store or better close
really.
the, salon, gym, whatever it may be,
Yep.
because it's just easier that way versus getting up a little bit earlier and getting out to your car earlier to make sure that you can then show up to work on time and serve your clients. But instead,
Exactly.
let's just forego the revenue for the day and the customers for the day, and we'll just stay home and we'll have this like quote unquote holiday day.
Fun. Yeah, exactly.
And I find that like Matt and I will have that conversation and very much be on the same page, but
Hmm.
then I'll have the conversation with somebody else and they'll have their own perspective, and I
Hmm.
think you can hold space for people's perspectives and like agree to disagree of how they
Exactly.
well I think that it's actually more admirable to pave the way and go do the hard thing and then achieve the goal in your business.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. And I think everyone has a different level, like a different threshold as well. And I mean, we have different seasons in our lives. So sometimes our threshold is different. Sometimes we don't have the capacity to maybe push a little deeper or dig a little further than we would in a different time. Right. And so it's like really respecting that season. I think where a lot of people maybe it's the complacency of it, right? Where it's like,
Mm.
oh, this is the default. Oh, this is comfortable. And like, whether it's like health and fitness, business, whatever capacity it is, we have to test our edge. Otherwise, we're never going to grow and evolve. Yeah, your edge might look different, but like to just constantly default, like you said, the path of least resistance, there you're minimizing the way that you can show up for yourself and for other people if you just constantly are defaulting to that space.
Oh my gosh, I love that you said that. I couldn't agree more. And I will say this so often too that if you want to be great or you want to do big things, you're going to have to do the uncomfortable things to get there. And
Yeah,
exactly
exactly.
to your point with like the gym. Okay, you
Hmm.
want to like grow your glutes. Well, you can't just, carry or use a 10-pound dumbbell for your goblet squats. You're going to have to do different exercises using heavy weights, fueling
Exactly.
your body accordingly. There's a whole bunch of work that goes into that.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. I mean, the fitness aspect, it's like a perfect example, but you can take that in all areas of life, right? Like if you tend to just be like, oh, I'm doing 10-pound dumbbells and that's all you've ever done, well, that's probably what you're doing in other areas of your life as well. And you really just need to push yourself. Sometimes it'll be 15, sometimes it'll be 12. It doesn't really matter, but like trust yourself, push
Oh
that
my
edge, go to a little bit more of a limit to see where you're able to go.
Oh my gosh. And that's why I think it's so fun. And I feel like you and I can absolutely have that, like we're speaking the same language as
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, but also with the fitness and the training background, but just sort of like the wavelength that I feel like there's so many opportunities to have the alignment between, what you do in the gym and
Yes.
also what you do in business.
Absolutely. It's very mirrored. I mean, there's a reason why so many high level entrepreneurs have such a focus on their health and their fitness.
Yes. Okay. Talk to me about that because I have noticed this as well. And even
Mhm.
like I've had the privilege of seeing Ed Milet speak in person a few times. And I love that he will often kind of weave in examples about
Mhm.
training or working with his trainer and then
Yeah.
how that can just align so beautifully with whatever message he's sharing to all the entrepreneurs in the room.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, I'm sure there is some science in terms of the correlation, but I just think it is I feel like showing up for your fitness and going to the gym or seeing your trainer on a regular basis, it requires a level of commitment. And I think if you can show up in that aspect, because it's like not all areas of our life require showing up in that kind of diligent way where like you're expected and like you kind of have to progress and you have to go regularly. You can't just willy nilly once in a while go to the gym and see change, right? You have to have some structure and routine. And and some people it's not necessarily a character flaw, but it is very difficult for people to really build a routine. It probably is because it's an unrealistic routine for them, but regardless, it's very difficult to do. But if you can break through that and not rely on like the motivation, you just are like, this is as important as a doctor's appointment. This is as important as my breakfast. Like it is part of your day to day or week to week. If you can have that level of diligence with something like going to the gym that requires diligence for change, like realistically, that that is a major tool in your toolbox in terms of building a business is that
Mm.
being diligent and continuing to show up and scheduling things like it's like a little snapshot of what kind of qualities you need to have in order to run a successful business or build a business.
Oh my gosh, I feel like you are in my brain because I say that so often, and Matt and I will record episodes together, and I'll be like, "It's like pull-ups," and he's like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god, you talk about pull-ups all the time." I swear,
Yes.
I have been on like a 7-year journey of trying to do unassisted pull-ups, and
Oh,
now
it's
I'm at like
brutal.
5.
Yeah. Yay.
But just the consistency and the discipline, and like, do
Yeah.
we love doing pull-ups? Not really. Like,
No,
I'd
of
rather
course
do
not.
other things, but I
Yeah.
want to be good at them and I want to be able to do them. So I have to do them consistently.
Exactly. And it's that grit. It's almost like it gives you that edge of like, okay, this mental grit. It's like, I do not want to do this pull up. And it's like you're literally internally battling with yourself, like, oh, I won't do this. What's one rep? Like, who cares? Whatever. But if you can talk through that grit of that limiting voice to just do that one more rep or to just go to the gym, it's actually it's hardwiring your brain or rehardwiring your brain to push through and not going back to the path of least resistance, not just defaulting back of like, oh well, what's one rep going to do? Well, one rep won't do anything, but if that's consecutively over and over your mentality, absolutely that's going to compound into not progressing. So I really think it just changes how our brains process structure and kind of pushing through and going a little bit further and setbacks and being uncomfortable. So I'm sure it's deep like that. We'll go with
Oh my
that.
gosh. And I was having that conversation with one of our members this morning about the cold plunge, and how
Mm-hmm.
I was saying to him, like today, for example, like I have a really busy day. I've chosen to put a bunch of podcast interviews in one day and content and things,
Mm-hmm.
but I actually scheduled a cold plunge because it's uncomfortable
Yeah.
and it makes me feel good, but it also makes me sharper so that I can then
Mhm.
show up into these conversations a better version of myself.
Exactly.
And the power of doing something that is uncomfortable, like getting into a 10-degree bucket of water, or not bucket, it's, a tub. The
Yeah.
bucket would be very small, but a tub of really cold water when it's really cold outside
Yeah.
is not fun. It's not
No.
enjoyable, but those are uncomfortable things that make us more resilient and more come to approach things with more strength, whether it's like mental strength, physical strength, emotional strength, all of the above.
Exactly, 100%. If anything like that can build that confidence, that naturally will trickle through in all aspects of your life. Like, I mean, and you've probably seen it with clients, right? When they start lifting heavy or they hit a PR, they all of a sudden, like, it's like something switches and it's like, damn, look at these muscles. Like their whole perception changes because if you have the confidence of being strong or doing hard things, you are naturally going to have a different outlook on life. Like, without a doubt, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, agreed tenfold. And on that note, because I love that we're sort of having the correlation between, strength training and working out, but also
Mhm,
entrepreneurship. When it
mhm.
comes to guidance, I am pro personal trainers, and
Yeah.
especially if you don't know what to do in the gym, that
Mhm.
you have that expert guidance. But also, if you are a high achieving individual and you really value your time, I feel like working with the trainer to know, all right, you have 1 hour scheduled and you are going
Yes.
to maximize your time to have someone design the workout for you, hand you the weights, wipe it down so you can maximize that 1 hour of time and have that guidance. But I think that's the same thing in the world of entrepreneurship with mentorship and
Mhm.
coaching and masterminds. What are your thoughts around that?
Absolutely. I don't think anyone can be so advanced in whichever aspect that they couldn't benefit from a mentor or a coach or someone to help guide them. And I mean, I think it's kind of a twofold thing because also even if you have a lot of knowledge, you still have a bubble of knowledge. What if someone thinks in a completely different way? And it's like, holy shit, I never thought of that. I never, even just changing of wording. I mean, with cueing in terms of like when you're training clients, sometimes if you just change the cue and the wording that you use, it clicks in their head and then they're able to perform differently. And it's the same with guidance and mentors and running a business and building a business. It's like, I never thought of that. Or, oh, yeah, that's the way to do it. So you might have like a 8-figure business, but that doesn't mean that someone else's thought process won't guide you to more greatness. And
Mm.
there's no shame. Like, I'm off and on building my own fitness programs. Like, I'm a trainer, and sometimes it's the fatigue of it. And again, it's being in your own thought bubble. And so, like, classically for me, for as an example, and I know it's common with personal trainers, it's like, we know not to overtrain and we understand junk volume, but like, I'll look at my program and be like, why do I have so much glutes? Like, what am I doing? It's like, I want to hit every machine. I want to do everything. And it's like, objectively, I cannot like coach myself sometimes. And so I've hired coaches before. And again, it's elevating yourself. And so that's the same with as an entrepreneur. It's like, you could have a really successful business where it's at, but someone else, even if it's just suggestions, maybe it's not mentorship, maybe it's just like their way of running a business, it's like, oh, I never thought of that.
I love that. And again, no surprise, I agree with you, because I think that we can be students for, I think that's a wonderful thing to be as adults, of always learning and growing between podcasts you listen to or books you consume, content you consume, but also being intentional with the rooms that you are getting into, whether they're, in-person rooms and events
Yes.
or virtual rooms, events, masterminds, coaching, all of
Mhm.
that. Because if you're committed to yourself to be better, then you want to do that in, at least in my opinion, why wouldn't you want to do it in multiple avenues of your life?
Exactly, 100%. And I love the expansion, especially with the mastermind specifically, is that connection and that proximity. Because like, I've hired business coaches, I've had people try and help me build my online platform, and it's fine. But I do really think that group connection and proximity and building those relationships in almost like a pod is a huge piece that had been missing in the past. I've been running my business since just like around 2019, and like, coaches that can guide you are great, but that's the systematic stuff. You probably could figure that out on your own. It's being with like-minded people. It's the camaraderie of it, the connection of it. I think that is actually more important than
Mm.
just a coach saying, oh, you should do this with your business.
That is truly where the magic happens in masterminds. And Matt and I started to invest in ourselves with masterminds in 2023.
Yeah.
And as a brick and mortar gym owners, we came out of some really shitty years
Yeah, I
in,
bet.
in the gym ownership business. And so then in 2023, we were like, why not invest a lot of money in a mastermind?
Yeah.
And why not both of us go? So it's
Yeah.
times two,
Yeah.
which is,
Why not?
we love doing everything together, and which is great for those. You're like, perfect, add two to cart.
Yes.
However, our business has grown substantially since we
Mhm.
started investing in masterminds and coaching and mentorship. And we
Mm.
change it maybe every year or every 2 years, just to, there's so many incredible resources and opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah.
But our business growth has been so directly correlated to our personal growth.
Absolutely. 100%.
So even for example, like the fact that we met through the Mentor Collective Mastermind, what encouraged you, prompted you to say yes to joining that community?
You know what? Actually, my good friend Sienna, so she's
Yeah.
been in the mastermind almost a year now, and she had joined 6 months prior to me. And I obviously was getting a lot of feedback from her, and she was kind of getting me to understand what it was all about. And her and I, while we're not business partners, we collaboratively have always kind of stayed the course together over the past few years in terms of like encouraging each other. And so it's not like we're directly invested in each other's businesses, but we've definitely been riding the wave together, which is a really cool experience in its own. And when they opened up, Chris and Larry, when they opened up the MCM for the next batch of individuals to sign up, it's not that I was on the fence. It was sort of like, I know I need to invest. I know that investing in yourself and your business is necessary. Like, you have to take that. It's not even a risk. It's literally just an investment. But I was like, do I do this? Do I not want to do this? And it went back again to the collective of it all. And I wanted to be a part of something, and I wanted to be on that journey with Sienna. And I wanted to experience leveling up myself as well, not just from a business perspective, but like a personal development perspective. Like I was literally exactly what we were just preaching. I was stagnant, right? I was comfortable. Because I didn't have any other route or guidance or any other way. Like my world was what my world was, and I didn't have anyone to kind of like break the ceiling, right? And so then I was like, you know what? I'm never going to grow to the way that I want it to be without help. Like it's just not going to happen. Not when the industry is so saturated, not when things are changing, and I'm not like a lover of social media where I care to like research the algorithm and all of that stuff. And so it was just like, I have to do it. And the fact that they have such a reputation, Chris and Lori, that was like the trust factor. I was like, there's no other option really.
Oh, I love that. Well, I mean, hey, I am so excited that you are in
I
it. And
know.
I think one of my favorite things to witness is watching people grow and
Mm,
connect. I host a lot of in-person events, predominantly for women, that is
yeah.
all about community and connection and watching people connect, whether it's just to become new friends or business collaborations and connections. And we've seen that a lot Matt and I will host a 1-day mastermind every summer. And being able to see that is just one of the greatest gifts, I think, as entrepreneurs that want to create things. And I love seeing it even just now in a virtual platform, these virtual rooms that we meet in every week. I think it is just so magical, and watching people expand just brings me so much
Mhm.
joy.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I kind of relate it to just a coach with my clients and just the
Mhm.
growth. Like you sometimes get to sit back and be like, whoa, I can't believe that I have the honor of watching this happen, like real time. And I do that every week with my clients. I'm like, wow, this is so neat. So to have that experience in terms of watching entrepreneurs like really like just bloom and just not care and not have limits is like, I imagine would be the most amazing thing.
It totally is. And I also know what you mean about clients of like I feel like I've watched some clients get over their mental block of box jumps and then they do them and you're like, "Oh my god, you did a box jump. This is so great."
Like the best. And it's like you're just so personally invested, and it's, oh my gosh, it's kind of indescribable to be like, you just feel such honor. Like, wow,
Mhm.
it's not even like a pat on my back because I helped this person. It's like I am so honored to watch them evolve and
Mm.
change and really get it, you know? So it's like, it's the best.
I love that. So how do people get to work with you? Are you in-person coach? Are you online coach?
I am all online. I started off in person, and then COVID obviously gently pushed people to online, as you were
Yep.
probably aware. And you know what? It's funny. So I have some local clients still, which if they want to meet with me and come go hang out at the gym, I'll absolutely do that. But everything is focused online, and ironically enough, I'd say 95% of my clients are not in Canada. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's mostly
That's amazing.
US. I have a couple in Europe. I had one in Australia at one point. So really just not Canada for whatever reason.
And so you'll program for them like from a strength training workout
Yeah.
program.
Yep. And nutrition, like I'm definitely more nutrition focused. I am a certified personal trainer. I program, I mean, I will program based on what their goals are, obviously, but I would say that my bread and butter is my hypertrophy program, and the way that I kind of teach that, because I do think it's really important to emphasize rest and recovery, not just like in the workout, but outside the workout as well. And so I do have a big focus on that. And it is hypertrophy based in terms of building muscle and recomping. And then I do a relatively intensive coaching experience on the nutrition side as well, where we do quite a deep dive on all of the biofeedback and all the metrics. And it ends up being a lot more of like the mindset stuff too. Like that comes quite
Mm.
naturally. There's not like a set protocol with that, but it's natural for that to happen because our mindset is usually why people are where they are. And
Mm.
the habits and the behaviors. So it's breaking through that. And so it's a pretty high touch coaching experience with myself.
I love all of this. Talk to me about your philosophy when it comes to recovery.
So I like it's my old age. No, I feel like we were in a space for so long in the fitness world where recovery wasn't emphasized, but also there wasn't as much knowledge and understanding of like junk volume and really understanding like the muscular fatigue of it all. So I really started to do a deep dive on that because I mean, I'm in terms of myself being someone who, prior to being educated and really in the space, I would be like, oh, 30 seconds, that's good, I'm going to lift again. Like I really didn't have an understanding of what happens during the recovery or the rest time in my training sessions, but also understanding that a well thought out program is methodical in terms of the rest days between muscle groups, again from my hypertrophy perspective. And so when I really started to understand that, I was like, oh, I think I might be overtraining because I'm really plateauing on things. And actually I started to digress. Like my squats, I was underperforming, I was going down in weight, I was like sore, I was having knee issues, all of this stuff. And then that's kind of when I really started to understand like mechanical failure and the difference between failure and the sensation of fatigue, or our perceived failure, which is usually not where we're at in terms of pushing to our limits. So I did a lot of like education on that. And I realized, because I was testing it on myself, that I was not recovering well enough in my training sessions, between my training sessions, at night. And once I started to implement that, my gains and my strength and my PRs were just like boom, 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 boom. And it's like sometimes less is more, especially if you're more of an advanced lifter. I went down to 3 days a week and I had more gains and more PRs going 3 days a week than I did when I was going 5 days a week, because I was fatigued, right? And if people don't have proper recovery protocols, that's when sometimes you can enter like that systematic fatigue, right? And it affects your nervous system and it affects your sleep, which affects your hormones. Like that's an extreme case, but it can all have this ripple effect when we try and go too hard and not honor the fact that the magic happens in the recovery, not in the workout itself. And so that's something that I really emphasize with my clients is like, we need to rest. We do not need to be champions or superheroes. We do not need to train 6 days a week. That is old school for what your goal is. Let's focus on quality and lifting close to proximity to failure on any given set or exercise so that we can maximize our growth and minimize that fatigue.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean so much to me if you took a few seconds and shared this on social media, sent it to a friend, or left a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I'm so grateful to have you part of mine.